welcome to our viewers worldwide and our viewers on Roku, Amazon Fire, and of course, our loyal viewers we've had for over 2 years on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We are thrilled to have you. Our show today is the UK News and Culture, episode 129. Dr. JACALYN, the host of this show, is out on business, but she will be with us next week. Let's welcome our first team member, the incredibly talented royal photographer, co-host of the Royally Rich Lifestyle, and co-host for the Royal Breaking News from London. She's also a royal expert and a woman in the know, HELENA CHARD. Welcome.
Oh, what an introduction, Diane. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just telling the truth like it is.
Oh, so lovely to see you. Great to be here as always.
Thank you. So how's London doing these days? Is it hot, cold, frantic?
Do you know, it's hot. It's the silly season, and we say that when people are like reporting on anything and everything that they can find. It always tends to be as well when the royal family are sort of having their vacations and are off to Balmoral. So, you know, there is news out there, and it's always, as I always say, I love to find the joy in everything, because I mean, let's be honest, there's some dark sides as well that we don't really want to sort of be thinking about too much. But yeah, there's a lot of fun going on. And I have to say, with the Olympics as well, you know, for me personally, it's sort of given me a spring in my step. And I've been going to the Lido. It's a local Lido, outdoor Lido, really early each morning. And it's a lovely way to mark each day. And also it makes you feel good. And I just, it's a marvelous thing. And actually it's due to watching the Olympics and the swimmers. And I thought, right, I'm going to get out there, and I have. And yeah, I'd say to anyone, if you've got a Lido near you, to definitely go. That's obviously an outside pool, which is, yeah, it's been beautiful. So
no, I agree with you. My husband and I actually, we could watch at home, but we've gone to sports bars so we could be with everybody in the excitement, because we're absolutely blown away at these Olympic champions, because everyone that goes is a champion in my mind. You might win a medal, but the fact that you even made it to the Olympics is mind-blowing. And they're so incredible, right? That you just sit there and go, right, okay, today I think I go for a walk.
Yeah. I think as well with the Olympics, it's fun to see the different countries and see how everyone performs, and just the different cultures. It's really, I just think it's wow. And of course, the different royal families and different people turning up to the events, and the camaraderie. Yeah, it's so joyful.
I agree completely. And I love how you say the silly season. Sometimes in America, I think we always have a silly season when it comes to the news.
Oh, actually, you do have a little bit of silliness going on, as we've had as well. Goodness me.
Well, let's bring out our other co-host, if that's okay with you, HELENA.
Yeah.
Great. He's our fantastic team member from Scotland, the fabulous chef, author, speaker, sailor, and so much more, who will be sharing with us everything Scotland. Let's welcome Simon Macdonald.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be back. Oh, it's Wednesday. Great day of the week, Wednesday. I love this time as well. It's just such escapism for me. And yes, I like what Helena, we were saying about the silly season. And it is the silly season here. I mean, it's amazing. Number of tourists that we've got this year, and the number of people from across the pond, from America. I was speaking to people there in Inverary just yesterday when I was taking a golden retriever into the car, having had a lovely bar lunch with our daughter at the George Hotel in Inverary. And this American couple, and they've got golden retrievers as well. And they were so nice. They're from Virginia. That's where you are today. So they're a very, very nice couple. And I've heard a lot of American accents around here this year, and it's great. Come on, more. We want more, please. But yeah, Scotland is very, very busy just now. Weather-wise, we've had a real mixed bag. I mean, we've had some pretty horrific rain, but this last few days, the sun has come out and it has been glorious, really, really beautiful. And in fact, all the UK have been treated to spectacular spells of the aurora borealis, known better as the Northern Lights. And in the evening, it's been absolutely wonderful, a really spectacular light show. So there we are. So, yep, we're all having a good time. Silly season. Love it.
You know, I went dog sledding for breast cancer for like 10 days in the Arctic with a group of women. And of course, it was the time that it was sunshine 24 hours a day. So we didn't get to see what you saw, the Northern Lights. But boy, I want to go back. But now I know I just have to come to England and Scotland to see
the Arctic is a wonderful place. You know, and I had a lot of time up there as well in the past. Absolutely amazing part of the world. And you either get 24 hours of sunshine or you get 24 hours of darkness, you know. That's it. And just try and avoid the polar bears as best you can.
Oh, yes. On a side note, and then we'll get back to what we're supposed to be doing. So a friend of mine with her dogs and I, we were like, oh my gosh, there's this cave. And so we started taking our dogs twice as fast and we got them settled and we went and took a picture of ourselves being so strong in our Arctic clothes and a picture and everything. And then our guide, you know, he comes racing up because there's about 12 women with dogs. And he's like, he has his gun and we're like, what's going on? He goes, you are in front of a polar bear cave.
Yes, you avoid the caves like the plague when you're there.
Yeah, we didn't do that again. Anyway, so Helena, are you ready to get started?
Well, I will just chat through a few little bits and pieces. Yeah, absolutely. I hope that everyone can see me because I've gone off screen, but I'm sure you can. So I'm going to start, well, really where we started. Just think. So we've had a fun couple of weeks. That's what I'd say here in the UK. The Olympics 2024 has been a huge part of this. And I think the Prince and Princess of Wales saying congratulations to the Olympic team was the icing on the cake. And that was a pre-record. I mean, what can I say? Snoop Dogg seemed to be turning up all over the place. There was filming going on. But, you know, congratulations to everyone. But for us, Team GB, 65 medals. And it was just such fun to watch. And I feel completely inspired by all these amazing athletes. And I hope other people have taken that away as well. Because, I mean, honestly, the training that goes into it and just how remarkable they are. It's a real discipline. And I think that discipline is super. Anyway, so I'm swimming away each morning. And I hope to do that for as long as I can because it really makes you feel so good. I would recommend everyone try it. So also in the pre-record, I think one of the big things everyone was speaking about was not only how lovely it is to see the Princess of Wales looking so radiant and happy and wearing her stripy top that we've become accustomed to, which sort of it sort of is a bit of a PR thing in a way. It makes us feel, you know, it sort of makes us feel calm. It's something we know. But it was so good to see her looking like that. But also everyone absolutely, well, it was Prince William and his new beard, everyone's been saying, which isn't a new beard, it's his stubble. But everyone's been saying how absolutely gorgeous he looks. Everyone's so excited. They can't believe it. You know, they love him like this. I mean, this is his relaxed look, but it sort of took over. It's gone around the internet a few times, a bit viral. And I have to say, I think he's a really good looking guy. And I think he looks great with stubble or without, in my view. But great to see Princess Catherine looking so wonderful. And I think to see Tom Cruise, I didn't actually see the whole thing, I have to say, the ending bit where Tom Cruise abseiled, doing his own stunts. That was pretty cool. But also knowing as well that the Olympics is going to be in LA in 2028. So that's something to look forward to. And a little bit of information that today, but August the 14th, 1900s, the Summer Olympics Games opened in Paris, France, all that time ago. And this sort of marked the second modern Olympic Games. The The first obviously was held in Athens. Moving on, also another reason to celebrate, and this is Prince William was really celebrating this at London's Air Ambulance charity, which he obviously supports. He's so good at raising money, I have to say, and obviously he worked with London Air Ambulance. We saw him; he's all over social media saying fantastic news that they've raised enough money for now for 2 new helicopters. And this is going to have a huge life-saving impact. So well done to him and his team. As I say, brilliant. He's so good. He's on it the whole time, him and his team, in fundraising. And obviously for his other project, Homeward, helping the homeless and trying to wipe out homelessness, this is working really well at the moment. The Royals are heading to Balmoral next week, and there's going to be lots going on. I know that the Prince and Princess of Wales have put a ban on chatting anything Harry and Meghan, but they do have talks as well that happen, as well as it being a sort of casual fun time for family meetup. They've been in Sandringham, and I think they look really well because obviously they've been by the sea. But I did hear rumours, and this is via good source, that they did get to Mustique, which is a private island in the Caribbean. I really hope this is the case. It's not obviously been made public, but what it would suggest is obviously that the Princess of Wales is doing really, really well. And Mustique, without going into it too much, they get left alone there, no photographs, and they love it there. So hopefully they went there with the children. Also, in this week, it is National Smile Week. And this actually was a campaign which started as a dental health campaign, but now it's focused this year on making everyone smile, how to incorporate more smiles in our day. And Banksy, now the wonderful Banksy, he's a British graffiti artist. He's actually a political activist as well, Banksy. His real name, I think, is Robin Gunningham. One of his famous quotes: "Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable." I think that's it. Yeah, which I think is very clever. So this is one of his artworks you can see. So there's been a plethora of his artworks released this week. This one, that was the rhino, which is strange. So this is the one outside London Zoo, which I think is showing the gorilla releasing the animals. So there is a political element to some of them. But they're also there to make you smile, and I think they do. And for people that actually receive these, obviously their properties go up hugely. And that's the pelicans, and that's by the Fish Bar, which is great. These are all in different areas around London, and I think it's lovely. I think the rhino one, it almost was the rhino mounting the car. I think unfortunately someone came and sprayed over it. There's always somebody that sort of likes to deface in a way it's a shame, I think so, because I think his work is actually very, very good. So it's put a big smile on our face. I think moving on, obviously, has everyone had enough of Harry and Meghan or not? And there's a lot of people that have not had enough of it. I personally think we're sort of oversaturated, but people are curious and people are wanting to know a lot more. So I will talk a little bit about it. I've got different broadcast platforms asking different questions. So alarm bells ringing, and this is Prince Harry's Chief of Staff, Joss Kettler, who has quit his job. Now, apparently he's the 18th member of staff to have departed. Chief of Staff was given, it's quite a prestigious name, and apparently he was going to guide the couple more, Prince Harry, over the next phase, whatever that phase is. He was with him in London to celebrate the Invictus Games 10th anniversary, key figure in Nigeria when they travelled there. So it's really strange that he's quit. He was expected to accompany them in Colombia. That's a tour that's coming up, not a royal tour, may I add. So it's all very bizarre. I know that People magazine had released the statement that it was an agreed departure, that they're going different ways, and obviously that Josh isn't a great fit. Now, this is happening more and more and more, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's a complete revolving door of staff. And I feel sad for the staff as well, because these are special people. They've been chosen carefully. They've worked and excelled in really demanding jobs, and performing in companies and really hard environments. So to suddenly just disappear, I just feel very, very sad. My feeling is, and I know I was asked by Fox News, that really, to have a workplace work well, it's a symbiotic relationship, and you've got to treat your employees well, and the employees will then treat the employers well. So something in their organisation is missing. And my personal feeling, and I know maybe I shouldn't be giving my personal feeling, that Harry and Meghan, they just seem quite rudderless. They lack direction. You can't just jump on board lots of different ideas and then, okay, I can see the smoke and mirrors. It gives a great platform for them, keeps them there. It's a great PR stunt, but you've got to keep it up. You can't jump on the new trendy thing and keep doing that. So you can see how staff are not going to stay on board in that sense. And just to talk about just quickly, they accepted an invitation. They're going to Colombia in recognition of their global leadership in fostering a safer online environment. Now, I'm all for people that have a platform lending themselves to support causes, because it does put things on the map. But I mean, you cannot be a leader in things that you don't know much about. You have specialists in this field that will take things forward, but it's certainly not Harry and Meghan, and it's certainly not the Archewell organisation that's only been going for a few years. So I do find, them talking about child safety online, and they're not an authority. They are parents, and they care for their children, and they have care obviously for children, as we all do. They've introduced the Parents Network as well. The thought, I think, that people are saying that is they're ignorantly being used as political pawns by the left-wing government, which has been actually haunted by corruption and scandals. So security concerns have been raised. It's a tricky one, but what we don't want is obviously for it to undermine our royal family, who work tirelessly for good causes, are selfless, and we just don't want them to impact there. But let's just see. I mean, if something could be done, i.e. Harry can speak to all the big conglomerates and get them to put money into to see how you can work towards eradicating things online, then that would be good. But just as a simple PR brand or just starting a campaign, I don't think it's good enough, really. And I think it's probably another reason why, as I see it, that Hollywood has turned against the Sussexes. I mentioned rudderless, and I think high-profile people are not going to want to attach themselves to people that are obviously doing a lot of harm. And obviously, I think certain people that value our royal family. I'm now going to move on to something which I found fascinating, and I always think to myself, because I do occasionally go to junk shops or charity shops, and I think, I wonder if I'll find something special. I have found a few things in the past, but today found out that a man was in a charity shop, and he purchased an envelope, a sort of brown envelope. It was £6 in UK money. He is in South Carolina, believe it or not. His name is Ronald Baxter Jr. He's 59. So he bought this unmarked envelope. So it must have been $8 or something. And he rushed home and he sort of opened it, and he couldn't believe what he found. So this unmarked envelope had little film in it, and it was footage of King Charles' christening all those years ago. So that was on December the 15th, 1948. So you've got, the little film has got like 4 generations of monarchs in it. So you've got Queen Mary, King George VI, the Queen Mother, Queen Elizabeth, obviously Prince Charles, who's King Charles now, and obviously the late Prince Philip would have been in it. But so this little film is titled Baby Prince Charles. I mean, what are the chances of finding that in South Carolina? I know the christening took place in the music room in Buckingham Palace, and he's so excited. Obviously, he wants to auction it off if possible to the highest bidder, but exciting news for him. But obviously, we've got the royal family in Balmoral next week, and lots will be happening there. But hopefully, all is well in the camps. And I think I'll stop there. I hope that's enough information. Would you like to ask me a question?
That was fabulous. And I just can't even imagine that a blank envelope would hold such a treasure.
I know, can you imagine? How good is that? So exciting.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I bet King Charles would like to see it himself.
I know. I'm just, goodness me, how did it end up in South Carolina, of all places?
I know. Just never know what's in their shoe.
He was a bit young at the time to remember it, probably, but he had a nice aid memoir.
I have actually got some amazing photographs taken by a great photographer, some lovely old black and white ones. Oh, they're beautiful. At one point, I'll show them on the show, because I think the little picture we had was a little bit blurry. But I have some really lovely ones.
Oh, that'll be great. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah. So there we go. So I had to, as I say, Harry and Meghan, there is so much news. I just decided to sort of pick on something that's now and that's coming up. And obviously we've got this, it's happening tomorrow, actually, this Colombia trip.
Wow.
So, what can we say? It's one of those things. We shall see what happens. Funnily enough, I think it was Prince William's friend that said that Prince Harry should come clean and apologise for all his social drug taking or something, because obviously, Colombia it's just so dangerous, and it is due to all the drugs that's sent out to the likes of people like Prince Harry.
Speaking of, yeah, and I'm glad that Prince William and Princess Kate were able to get away. Now, where they went, is that a place where Princess Diana took her children? Do you know?
Which one? Or the place they went? But it's not absolutely categorically the case that they went to the island, but it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
In the Caribbean, and I really hope, yes, that's where they went. And really, I think it was Princess Margaret that owned it, must be, and then it was sold on. But I know that if they didn't get there, which I would be so I really hope they did, because it just, as I said, shows that the Princess of Wales is doing well. Sandringham's beautiful in Norfolk. It's really lovely, and it's by the sea. And obviously going to Balmoral as well, which is away from prying eyes people. It's all very relaxing. And I think the Prince and Princess of Wales, especially Prince William, is so thankful that that Catherine's doing well, because obviously when you've been through upset, now you just want to live. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Do well. So yeah, wishing them all the love in the world.
Absolutely. Simon, you have any questions for Helena before we move on to you?
No, I mean, I'm just blown away by this film. It's what a find. I mean, it really is quite what a find. I was in an antique shop the other day. It was another couple of pieces of silver. Like, I need more silver, but nothing is as such a treasure as that find. My goodness.
I know.
I know. And now, if I see a blank envelope, I'm going to go ahead and buy it.
Yes. Don't buy the ones with windows in it. That usually means it's a bill that's come in. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Well, so lots more. I know there's one thing as well. I know that Prince and Princess of Wales have put a ban on that when they travel to Balmoral. They want to relax, and they don't want to be speaking about Harry and Meghan all the time, obviously. But they do when the family goes to Balmoral. they do have conversations where they set up structured conversations where they all sit around and chat. And unfortunately, there will be some talk. And I think talking about, as we were talking about earlier, the titles of Harry and Meghan as well, possibly how things will change. Because I can see things change, and I think they just have to. It's a long... I can't see things changing and them coming together and it being one happy family, because there's lots of things which possibly could be happening. But I think the funny thing is they will be left with, as we said, the title of Dumbarton. They possibly can be using that. And I know for a fact that they don't want their children to have that title. With the dumb, it's the dumb bit.
Yes. No. Well, I think Simon and I can both agree on that. But the title doesn't mean anything in the US, so will the kids really care? Do you think?
I don't think they will at all. I just think I suppose for Harry and Meghan, it gives them their platform. Being they have their platform, and not only to them, maybe not in the States, but the Commonwealth, etc., will perceive them as royals, more royals if they've got their titles. But without certain titles, they'll just be known as the Sussexes.
I see. I have so much to learn about that part. Thank you for teaching us.
There's more.
Well, I hope you can stay with us for Simon's exciting intro into the world of Scotland.
No, he knows so much about Scotland. Ooh, beautiful Scotland.
Beautiful Scotland. Must go there someday. So, Simon, are you ready?
I'm ready. Yes.
Well, let's
indeed.
rock and roll.
Good. Right. Well, this week I am delving into something quite interesting through the war that not everybody knows about. Still in Scotland, but only just, because we're talking about the Shetland Islands, and which is as far north as you can get. In fact, the Shetland Islands are actually closer to Norway than they are to the mainland of Scotland. Piece of information which everybody needed to know. So today I'm talking about the Shetland bus. The Shetland bus was the nickname of a clandestine special operations group that made a permanent link between mainland Shetland in Scotland and German-occupied Norway from 1941 until the surrender of Nazi Germany on the 8th of May 1945. So from mid-1942, the group's official name was the Norwegian Naval Independent Unit, or NNIU. And in October 1943, it became an official part of the Royal Norwegian Navy and was renamed the Royal Norwegian Navy Special Unit, or RNNSU. The unit was operated initially by a large number of small fishing boats and later augmented by 3 fast and well-armed submarine chasers, the Vigra, the Hessa, and the Hitra. Crossings were mostly made during the winter under the cover of darkness, and the weather was terrific. I know the North Sea at that time of the year, it's not a nice place. Now, this meant that the crews and passengers had to endure very heavy North Sea conditions, with no lights and a constant risk of discovery by German aircraft or patrol boats, and with the possibility of being captured along the Norwegian coast. Camouflage was the best defence, and the boats were disguised as working fishing boats and the crew themselves as fishermen. Now, the fishing boats were armed with light machine guns, which were concealed inside oil drums placed on the deck. The operation was under constant threat from German forces. Several missions actually went awry, with several fishing boats lost during the early operations. But after receiving the 3 submarine chasers, there were no more losses as such. When Germany launched the invasion of Norway on the 9th of April 1940, French and British troops and ships were sent to help the Norwegians. Several coastal towns were bombed and destroyed by the Germans, and on the 29th of April, HMS Glasgow left the devastated city of Molde with King Haakon VII and Crown Prince Olaf, members of the Norwegian government, and most of the gold from the Norwegian National Bank. In northern Norway, the fighting lasted for another month. A few weeks after the occupation began, the first boats of an armada of fishing vessels and other boats began to arrive in Shetland. Some boats made several journeys across the North Sea carrying refugees. The boats were of many kinds and shapes, but mostly used as the Shetland bus, were between 50 and 70 feet long, with 2 masts and equipped with a single-cylinder semi-diesel engine, which made this characteristic tonk-tonk sound. And it was actually almost quite a calming sound in a rough sea. But in late 1940, both the Secret Intelligence Service and the Special Operations Executive and Norwegian Naval Independent Unit established a base in Lerwick on Shetland, the capital of Shetland Islands. They asked some of the skippers of the boats that were coming over from Norway if they would return to deliver agents and bring others back to Shetland. Well, this went on throughout the winter of 1940 and 41. In early 41, it was decided formally to establish a group of men and boats to assist the SIS and the SOE. Main purpose of the group was to transfer the agents in and out of Norway and provide them with weapons, radios, and other essential supplies. They'd also bring out Norwegians who feared arrest by the Germans. Sometimes the group was involved in special operations, like the failed attack on the German battleship the Tirpitz, and also Operation Anarchy, the raids on Molloy, and Operation Claymore and the Lofoten Islands. My father was there during the war. The men put in charge of organising the group were a British Army officer, Major Leslie Mitchell, and his assistant, Lieutenant David Howarth of the Royal Naval Volunteer Reserve. On their arrival in Shetland, they commandeered Flemington House in Weasdale for their headquarters, and they found a perfect location in Lunaness, north of Lerwick, from which the boats could operate. Before then, the boats had been moored in Catfirth, but Lunaness had a sheltered harbour and a small population that weren't really too curious about what was going on, and the Luna House was then used as accommodation for the boat crews. So while Mitchell stayed in Flemington, Howarth set up his headquarters in Luna House. Their whole staff consisted of 3 British sergeants, Almond, Sherwood and Olsen, and Norman Edwards, a stenographer, Harold Erlicton, a Norwegian cook at Luna, and 2 maids at Flemington. So during the first winter, Flemington House was used to train saboteurs and house agents and to accommodate Norwegian refugees. The lack of a slipway and other repair facilities meant that the boats had to be repaired at Macalof's in Lerwick, but later they moved the boats and crews to Scalloway, where William Moore and Son had a mechanical workshop and where there was a slipway that was built. Harold Engelviet and John Haraldson were the head mechanics, and Severin Rold became the leader of the carpenters. All ship repairs were done there, but Lunavo was still used for preparing special operations. Dinapore House was the headquarters for the base in Scalloway, while Flemington House became quarters for agents awaiting transport to Norway and for debrief on their return. A former net loft became accommodation for the boat crews and was named Norway House. Flemington House was also on occasion visited by high-ranking officers. Most prominent guest was the Crown Prince Olaf of Norway, who visited in October 1942. Mitchell left the base in Scalloway in December 1942, and Captain Arthur William Sclater, also known as Rogers, became the leader of the operations. At first, there were 14 fishing boats of various sizes. The original Shetland bus boat, the Axel, skippered by August Nervoy, departed from Bergen to Hamnavoe on the west side of Lunaness on the 30th of August 1941. Fishing boats were used at first, but after some losses, it was decided that faster vessels were necessary. So, on the 26th of October 1943, the US Navy officially transferred the submarine chasers Hitra, Vigra, and Hessa to the Shetland bus operation. These craft were 110 feet long and capable of a top speed of 22 knots, which is pretty fast. So when the submarine chasers arrived, the group became an official part of the Royal Norwegian Navy and was renamed the Royal Norwegian Naval Special Unit. So the boat, the Hitra, was commanded by Ingvald Einsheim, the Vigra was commanded by Leif Larsen, and Hessa was commanded by Petter Salen. They carried out more than 100 tours in Norway with no losses of men or ships. Then on the 9th of May 1945, Vigra, commanded by Larsen, and Hitra by Eidsen, entered the harbour of Lingøy near Bergen in Free Norway. The group had made 198 trips into Norway in fishing boats and submarine chasers. Leif Larsen completing 52 of them himself. But the Shetland bus had transported 192 agents, 383 tons of weapons and supplies to Norway, and had brought out 73 agents and 373 refugees. 44 members of the group sadly were killed. Notable members in the Shetland bus. Well, the crews of the Shetland bus were men of the coast, fishermen, sailors with detailed local knowledge, which was so important in those waters. Most came over after the occupation, some with their own vessels, others with vessels that were, well, shall we say, stolen with the owner's approval. And they were young men, mostly around about their 20s, some even actually younger. So many of them did several tours in the spring and summer of 1940, evacuating British soldiers who'd been stranded in Norway after the Norwegian campaign and other British citizens living in Norway. Leif Larsen, nicknamed Shetland's Larsen, was perhaps the most famous of the Shetland busmen. He became the most highly decorated Allied naval officer of the Second World War. Larsen was born in Bergen in Norway and joined the Norwegian volunteers during the Finnish Winter War. And soon after the war in Finland ended, Norway was invaded by Germany. A Swedish officer, Banksy, set up a company of volunteers who made their way to Norway and fought in eastern Norway until the 8th of June 1940, from then on to the end of the war. Larsen arrived in Shetland with the boat, the MB Mottig first, on the 11th of February 1941. So after training with the Company Ling in Scotland, Larsen returned to Lerwick with the St. Magnus on the 19th of August 1941. He did his first Shetland bus tour with the MB Siglaus, skippered by Peter Salin, on the 14th of September in 41. After the loss of the mine layer Nordsen, where Larsen was second in command, he became a skipper, so therefore he could choose his own crew. So his first boat was the MK Arthur, the boat that he had requisitioned on his escape from Norway after the wrecking of the Nordsen. On the 8th of November 41, Larsen sailed from Shetland on his first tour as skipper. On their return to Shetland, they ran into a storm. One of his crew sadly was blown overboard and drowned. Larsen made several tours with Arthur, but he also skippered other boats as well. In October 1942, he had to scuttle the Arthur in Trondheim Fjord after a failed attempt to attack the German warship, the Tirpitz. He and the crew then escaped to Sweden. So on the 23rd of March 1943, returning from Trena in Nordland with the MK Bergenholm, they were attacked by German aircraft. The boat was sunk, but Larsen and the crew, many of them wounded, rowed for several days until they reached the coast of Norway near Ålesund. After hiding in different places, Larsen and his crew were rescued on the 14th of April by a motor torpedo boat from Lerwick. In October 1943, the new submarine chasers arrived and Larsen became commander of the Vigra with the rank of sub-lieutenant. So in total, he'd made 52 tours to Norway in fishing vessels and in submarine chasers. His awards, well, he was the most highly awarded, decorated member of the Royal Navy officers. And British awards he received were the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal, and the Distinguished Service Medal and Bar, and the Distinguished Service Cross, and the Distinguished Service Order. His Norwegian awards included the War Cross with Sword, St. Olaf's Medal, Norwegian War Medal, the Defence Medal of 1940-45. Ker Emil Inverser was born in Flattinger in Norway. He was the son of a sea pilot and had joined his father on the pilot boat. When the Germans attacked Norway, he was a fisherman and soon joined the underground army. His activities were discovered by the Germans and he had to leave the country in a hurry. He and 3 other men escaped to Shetland, and in August, that was 1941, with his father's boat, the 42-foot Villa II. From Shetland, he was transferred to England, where he joined and trained with the Company Ling. He was among the men Larsen chose as crew on the MB Arthur and sailed several tours with Larsen. He was crewman on the MB Siglaus and the MB Faye and the MB Harold and the MB Helen. In December 1943, he joined the crew on the submarine chaser the Hesse as engineer under command of Peter Salin. When Hesse was under repair, Iversen served as engineer on the Vigra and did one tour as a Norwegian Navy motor torpedo boat. When Hesse was back again, rejoined the crew and stayed there until the war ended. Kerr Iversen did 57 tours across the North Sea, most of them as an engineer. That on the 6th of December 1944, well, he married the Scalloway girl from Shetland, Christine or Sissy Slater. They stayed in Scalloway after the war and had 3 daughters. In 1996, the Shetland Times published Iversen's memoirs, I Was a Shetland Busman, which was reprinted in 2004 with a new introduction and the title of just purely Shetland Busman. The first of the Shetland busmen to lose his life was Nils Ness, aged 23, from Brems on the island of BOEHM, south of Bergen. He was killed on the 28th of October 1941 when German aircraft attacked the Siglaus on its way to Shetland from Norway. Ness was buried at the Luna Kirk churchyard with a Scottish ceremony because there was no Norwegian clergyman to conduct the funeral. His body was moved to his home in Norway in 1948, and a cross marks his grave at Luna. Ness was the second Norwegian buried at the Luna Kirk. The first was an unknown sailor buried on the 5th of February in 1940. He was probably from the cargo ship Hop, which had left Bergen on the 2nd of February and was torpedoed and sunk by a German submarine. The third man was buried on the 9th of June in 1942, and he was sadly found drifting in the sea by a local crofter. John Johnson from Luna, I believe, was the name of the man. The Shetland-Norwegian Friendship Society had set up a plaque on the church wall outside to remembrance of these 2 unknown men. British naval officer and historian and author David Howarth requested that his ashes be scattered over the water at Luna Voe. A memorial plaque is mounted on the churchyard wall at Luna Kirk to this effect. The Shetland Bus Memorial is located at Scalloway, and the local museum has a permanent exhibition relating to the activities of the Shetland bus. These were extraordinary men in extraordinary times, and navigating that horrific sea in winter in a small fishing boat with the engine going tunk and tunk and tunk, well, that was an incredible job and feat of bravery in itself. And of course, no lights, not even navigation lights, so you couldn't be detected by the enemy. Brave men, every one of them.
Wow, they were brave men, I tell you. Amazing.
I know those waters up there, and believe me, they are not nice. It is a pretty nasty bit of water there. But there we go.
There we go. Helena, thoughts?
We got a bit of time for on this day.
Oh, I just want to see if Helena wanted to add or ask.
Yeah. It was lovely to hear it all the history and the bus. That's great.
I mean, okay, it was 1940s. In real terms, it's actually not that long ago. But would our voice today do that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Well, we'll have to talk more about this because time's running out so quickly on this day because we enjoy it so much.
Okay, well, on this day, right, here goes. 1281, during the Kublai Khan's second Mongolian invasion of Japan, his invading Chinese fleet of 3,500 vessels disappeared in a typhoon near Japan. Worst maritime disaster ever. 1941, US President Franklin Roosevelt and the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill issued the joint declaration that later became known as the Atlantic Charter. In 1945, on this day, it was VJ Day. The Empire of Japan surrenders unconditionally to the Allies, ending the World War.
Wow.
So, and that was on the 2nd of August, World War II. I'm getting confused now. August the 15th it was in Japan and other countries, but it depends on the time zone you're in. 1989, President Pik W. Botha of South Africa resigned. He was a good president. Birthdays today. In 1851, Doc Holliday, the American dentist, gambler and gunfighter at the OK Corral, was born in Griffin in Georgia. 1945, American comedian and banjo player, who knew that, and actor Steve Martin, famous for Parenthood, Roxanne, and many other movies, was born in Waco in Texas. He is 78 today. Happy birthday, Steve. I love your movies. And then 1960, Sarah Brightman, British actress and amazing singer from Phantom of the Opera. She was married to Lord Lloyd Webber as well. And she was born in Berkhamsted in England, and she's 63 today. Doesn't look it. An amazing woman. Deaths today, well, this day in 1951, William Randolph Hearst, the American newspaper publisher, dies at the age of 88. Then in 1988, Enzo Ferrari, the racing driver and founder of the famous car manufacturing business Ferrari, wouldn't we all love one, dies at the age of 90. So there we have on this day.
So fascinating. Thank you so much. Well, guys, can you believe it? Our time is up. I always hate that. I don't know about y'all, but I just hate it. So we're going to say goodbye. And thank you for all the wonderful beauty y'all bring to this show. We couldn't do the show, obviously, without y'all. So Simon, Helena, have a blessed week. And for everybody watching us, I hope that your day is filled with peace and love. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you to Amazon Fire, Roku, Zizzle. And please stay tuned for the Anne Scotland Show and the podcast Mastro, The Art of Storytelling. Bye for now. Have a great day.